Imagine the version of you that never got tired, or at least never gave in when he was tired. Imagine the version of you that tapped into confidence. What is true confidence? Not being afraid of failure, of rejection, failing forward. If you knew that the next 25 fails or no's or rejections that you faced, that you would get the result that you've been striving for all this time, how fast would you shoot to get those 25 failures done? We were going to focus on how everything in the world is designed to whack you out. Let's look at the bare bone basics. We got the fast food places. We got the ads. As soon as you say something, the advertisement will pop up. It's almost creepy how fast it pops up. The other day, I was talking about, a clothing brand. It was a Christian clothing brand. Actually, just purchased some clothes from them. But as soon as I checked out their website, I didn't even say anything. I just checked out the website on another computer in there. And I go in the room. First thing on Instagram is that website. There's been times where my friend Randy jokes about getting an oil change, right? And then you'll see the oil change ad will pop up later after the conversation. That's just an example, that I was telling him earlier. But everything in the world is designed to whack you out. What that is the advertisements are going towards the animalistic part of your brain, which it's good. You need to do that with marketing. It's important to know the cognitive biases when marketing yourself. That's why McDonald's uses certain colors, all sorts of different theories. But you got to realize that you're spending so much time in society in these little boxes. I spend so much time in a room, right? Every single day. I'll speak for myself. Maybe you can relate. This room around me is just a square little rectangle. Spend a lot of my chill time in here. I go to an office. What is it? A bunch of square and rectangles put together. We spend so much time, and even if you do get out, you get in the city, you see in streets, it's just all the same. If you've traveled anywhere, basically everywhere is basically very similar to each other. It's just the nature. That's the difference here. And that's where I want to go into this, actually. We need to spend more time to go into nature. Leave the pack. That way you can reset. Owen Cook often talks about you can get a lot of energy from seeing art, human art museums, right? And cool zoos. But if you go to nature, it could be a park down the street that maybe you've been right under your nose all along, but you've never gone. You're going to get a much higher amount of data input downloaded into you because it's God's creation. Don't get me wrong, you can get inspiration from art and stuff like that. Shout out Inspiratio, the guy who covers Christian art on YouTube. He's awesome, so check him out. But something that's free, something that even rich people have a problem doing because they're so caught up in the monotonous day-to-day, that true rich people understand, like Owen Cook and Tai Lopez, as Tai Lopez often refers to, I'm on my farm.
I'm not going to try to convince you
because what he's saying
that you shouldn't
is
only
this
live in the
is
city.
more
Humans aren't that
important than
happy
just
when
having
they're 100%
this.
in man-made
Why do you think
environments.
Tai
You live in
Lopez puts
Manhattan.
health
You're
before wealth?
objectively less happy because they can test
It's
your
not
cortisol
that,
levels
it's health,
and
wealth,
see
love,
that
and
they're
happiness.
elevated from simply the
because
noise and the traffic.
Your health is first. When you have good health, it affects other areas. So that includes your mental health. When you go out into nature, right, and just allow that reset, it's a superpower. Another thing Owen Cook was saying is if you sit there and just allow yourself to breathe, don't even think of it as meditation. Meditation is just breathing. Sit there and be aware of your existence, of the blood pumping in your veins for 20 minutes. Sometimes you'll get more stimulation out of that than anything else you can do that was more stimulating. You got to get the extra time for the fun stuff, because if you don't now, then when? If you're not, the moment you can only control is now. You can't control the past. It already happened. You can't control the future. It's too unpredictable. Too many things to do. And yes, you can take predictable actions like a routine process result to get an output through the input. But it's not always guaranteed, is it? Exactly. What is guaranteed is this moment, now in time, and how your relationship is with it. So see if you learn how to be with yourself, then everything else will fall in line. You ever wonder why certain people it just becomes easier for them, and other people they can try to do the same exact thing, same exact words, it doesn't work? Well, that's why. One person is giving themselves mental permission. Their validation is so high that they're the highest self-validated in the room. But not in a weird way, just in a self-permission to be expressive way and not caring what you think. See, because where that originally comes from is when we were in different tribes or different groups. If you saw another tribe or group, no laws back then, no like police or anything, and you could walk up in that tribe or group and you're trying to act a fool and you're going up to the prettiest women in the tribe, or you're going up to the biggest, strongest warriors and slapping them on the back. Hey, what's up, Tom? Or whatever, ooga booga. They're going to kill you. And it's just passed down from our genes. Now, that's there to help you. Obviously, there are certain circumstances where it is correct, but a lot of times we don't need that part of the brain anymore, because nothing's going to happen when you put your best foot forward. Like in a sales matter, Owen Cook was saying, this was an OG rant with Owen Cook, where he was telling the company Cisco, and he was saying, is someone going to smash your head with a rock just because you're super confident about the sales of the product? Is being shy, like you would in that tribe, going to help you sell that product? Is it going to help that social result? No. Back in the day, it was necessary. Not even that it helped, it was necessary so you didn't get killed for doing something stupid, right? That's just the genes that were passed down. But now, if you go in there with that same and listen to that brain that's telling you to be shy and meek so you don't get hit in the head with a rock, then that's not going to help your pitch at all. Your pitch of you, whatever it is you're doing. You have to go in there and remind yourself, like Julian himself said, it's like that kid that's going to open the closet and the kid thinks that's the monsters in the closet. You just tell the kid, you don't tell the kid, come on, pussy, open the closet. You're a pussy, open it. You know, you don't do that. You see, what you say to the kid is you're like, oh no, I understand. I know that you're scared right now, but what we're going to do is I'm going to open it with you. And we're going to find out together. I'm going to show you there's no monster, you know? And you got to be that way with yourself, you know? And then when you're that way with yourself, not only do you accept it instead of punishing that voice that's just trying to help you, right? That survival instinct, which is also your inner child that you're punishing for trying to help you. A lot of that is the Andrew Tate route with it, which I love Andrew Tate, but it's too harsh. You need to be loving to your inner child, or you're going to cause trauma to yourself to where you act irrationally. You need to understand and process and feel it. That's why sitting for 20 minutes a day and doing daily check-ins, like Julian says, is super important. Like Stephen Covey says in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you got to sharpen the saw. This is exactly that. And I think that sharpening the saw is the most important of them all, because if you think of it, if you're going at life with a dull saw, not only are you not getting any work done, but you're also damaging the saw, causing that mental trauma, you know? So the metaphor makes sense. You got to put the logic through the hoops. And if it passes the hurdles, then it passes the test. And just like Jesus, right? Jesus, not that he was the most self-validated in a bad way, but he was the most self-validated in the fact that he knew what the truth of reality was, right? So he said, I do what I see my Heavenly Father doing. I say what I hear my Heavenly Father saying, or you know what I'm saying? He said, I and the Father are one. He was so self-validated that he dispensed the validation to us all, to the creation, because he has the truth. So if you take that truth and you say, I am most self-validated in my self-expression of myself, but it has to be under the truth, under God's law. Otherwise, you reap what you sow, right? Because we got to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. God doesn't want us to be stupid, but God also wants us to be doing good with what we have and not just being selfish. That's why it's our opportunity. We have to, not just our opportunity, our obligation and responsibility to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, because it is the truth. And that's why I'm learning all this social stuff from Owen Cook, is because not only do I think he's onto something with his spiritual beliefs in that matter, but I also want to use these social skills to open up and do what like Cliff Knuckle does. You know, so you got to build systems for your dreams. That's kind of a peek into my dream and what I want to do. A mixture of Owen Cook, Cliff Knuckle, and Sam Shamoon, like on video calls and stuff, and just like in music. You know, I want to do it all. But are you creating at your potential? You should not be stuck where you're at forever. You got to create processes to 1, 2, 3 and understand how to reverse engineer. First step is to step into feeling it. Be, do, have. Not have, be, do. Have, do, be. Ooh. You gotta be. Then you do. And you have. So comment what your potential is, what your dream is, what you're working towards, the processes, the systems that you're building behind it. Drop a like.